Welcome on to the video. Today we're looking at what if civilization start over to human scenario. Now you can see a lot is going on in this world currently. A lot has been updated. We're gonna get that into that in a bit. But I've been noticing that I noticed a video that a short that said people who post a lot appear in the game for the money. But I'm not like others. I actually want to have fun while making this. I want to do my own stuff. I want to develop this series. I have a genuine want to develop this, and it truly kind of hurts me when my videos are just not very much watched, but it doesn't hurt me, but sorry for lying a bit, but it does kind of rub off my ego in a bad way, and it also doesn't help with anything that I want to do or anything that I wish to do. And it's kind of heartbreaking to see most of you guys help me, yet also many of you leave. And this journey has been very long. We're almost 25 episodes in. It has been like almost 25 days or more since the beginning of this entire series. I did a lot of different things, like a few other episodes for different things, and those turned out well, but I'd like for you guys to just stick around for a bit and help me out. That would be much appreciated. And I don't want to be seen as someone who's in the YouTube race for like subscribers or anything. I'm not in it for the race or for the money or the people who like bring in the money. I'm in it for two things: to complete the dream and just maybe help myself in the future with if I don't get a true job, then I will eventually just maybe quit YouTube in the future. Depends on what happens. The future is the future, you never know. But yeah. So let's get into the video. With our recent events all across the world, I have updated a few things to kinda do a bit of justice to some stuff. So puppets will now have not like a puppet color, like a lighter color of the nation that's puppeting them. That's not gonna happen. I don't really much like how it just looked like it was occupied for indefinite time, and yeah. But also we're gonna look at a lot of expansion that is going on in the world, especially in some areas. First we're gonna go from all the way over here to all the way over here. So let's get ready with the expansions of the Irish, not the Irish, but the British Isles. We quickly see that these two nations quickly take over these regions. Eventually we do see them also doing some stuff like explorations around the coasts. They quickly use their coastal knowledge to coastal advancements and advancements in technology to help them gain all the ground. We also see that their explorations help discover a lot of Ireland, and we quickly see the smaller nations also help to find out about these regions. Eventually all of Ireland is discovered, while the Isle of Man is not discovered. People are still going around it because they just want to go in a circle for a bit. You also see in these regions Scotland is discovered in a larger form, and many regions of I keep wanting to say Stockholm, I don't know why, but we see that many regions over here are very much seeking to do whatever is needed to discover these areas. Some nations open up trades with the Irish nations that were just discovered to actually exist. And over in the middle of the British Isles, we quickly see that these areas will be discovered. With the British Isles actually being discovered, we see that, the central areas being discovered, many nations will start to inhabit these areas, while a larger amount of people from Scotland will start to move out towards this area. A storm during the night will cause many of them to wake up, and many of them will have to separate with a large few groups kind of going into different areas. Around 60% of the exploration fleet kind of were flung all the way over here, where they continued to sail until they met Norway, and over here around another 20% reached the Faroe Islands and actually did some stuff about it. They actually started to inhabit these regions, seeing them as a great way to survive. They will also start to make a few other things to help them survive, like boats and fishing boats to help them just be themselves. Eventually, another 20% actually manages to get back to their own nation, to their home nation, where they actually managed to then go back and try to find these people, although the knowledge of where these guys were is very much a mystery. Nobody knows where these guys went. It's just known that if you go over here, it's a risk of storms being in this region. So yeah. Also, in China, in Li Jingxi, we see a large population boom gives rise to many new towns and many new villages, also causing them to expand. But the Ujis and the Menjis also do the same. And seeing this, a few other nations do too, and it kind of spreads over here, creating our second belt of concentrations of nations. Currently, our most concentrated region of nations is in France and the British Isles, or even in Eastern Europe, but I'd possibly say that it is also in Djibouti. But let's get back to the events that we have here. With the expansions of these nations, we see that the smaller nations will start to fight for territory, but the first winner of the first fight is the southern nation that quickly takes over a lot of the southern areas and a bit of the central regions, giving them a big monopoly over these regions, and also causing this guy to panic and take over any regions it can before being out expanded. And we quickly see that due to their paranoia, they kind of cause another paranoia of also being out expanded, and this nation also expands over here, which also causes them to take over these areas, deciding to, once they take over these areas, to stop expanding and start consolidating. With all of this going on, we see that this nation wins the second fight for the more northern regions, taking all of Northern Ireland and these regions in tandem. With these central areas being heavily fought over, a compromise will be reached when a local fisherman will from this pink guy says, why not split the regions between all of us? And it kind of becomes quite the well-known peace treaty for this region, a division of land. And quickly we see that each nation gains quite a bit of territory. Some gain more than the other, and some others don't gain as much. Mainly the ones that gain more than the others are both this guy and this guy, who gain a lot of land, but their borders will in turn become very, very unlikable. Even though I'm making these borders, I'm gonna just say these borders are kind of horrid and horrible, so I wouldn't say that they will stick around for long, but we're gonna have to see about what happens about that. With these areas being fully taken over by their respective owners, we quickly see that each nation occupies the last central bit of Ireland, and we have 4 central nations for Ireland. With this, we also go to Wales, where we see the 3 Welsh nations quickly take over respective parts of Wales. With this nation taking the least, while this nation over here taking the most. Wessex kinda takes some of the Cornish areas. Cornwall isn't very happy about that, but yeah. We also see that over here, large amounts of fighting over territory has begun between both Londinium and East Anglia, with Essex becoming for the first time very populated for some reason, and even though their 2 larger neighbors could at some point just eat them up, they don't, because they kind of want a buffer state between each other so they don't get invaded by each other. Over in north, both of the Scottish, the Southern Scottish and the Northumbrian nation quickly take over these regions, and the Scottish nation quickly takes this. And we see that these 2 become Northern and Southern Scotland, and due to that they kind of start to fight over who is the true owner of these lands, and eventually a small conflict on the border will cause tensions to rise considerably. With all of that, we will go now over here, where we see many nations start to expand into these regions, with these nations being quite cooperative. Normandy gets these other Normandian areas. The Parisian nation takes these areas. I don't think Paris is I think Paris is like in this area, so this might be Paris. But they call it Southern Belgium, or I don't know what it's called. I don't know. Won't even try. But we're going to see some other nations also expanding, with Provence taking the most lands in France. With that, we see 2 new nations for France and Belgium declaring their nationhood. And we quickly see that over here a few small nations will also become, actually come into existence. But we see that due to their sudden attempt at taking over some southern territories, this nation that kind of wanted these lands quickly just saw itself not getting those lands, and it was kind of pissed. With Netherlands, Nederlandic Dutch now existing, we see 2 new nations over here for both Netherlands and Germany, with Germany actually gaining Bremen as a actual nation. With that, the first true Danish nation becomes a actual thing, and some inner German nations actually start to form, with the weirdest being this one in the south, which sees many pockets, but this also allows them to be very scattered and very manageable. Over here we see that both this grey and this light beige nation are kinda unknowing of each other's existence. They don't really care about each other or who is where. They only care about land. We quickly see that their caring about land is one thing for both, because Prussia has taken these lands. I know, quite a lot. Pretty much a lot. And we see that their taking of these territories hasn't gone unanswered, as 2 new nations quickly took control of their own regions, taking over all of that. We quickly see that both the Polish and the Lithuanian nations take these areas, while Latvia and Belarus quickly take over these regions. With that, we also see that the Ukrainian nations and Romanian nations take lands. This nation decides to kind of become very weird, as they just take around this the Danube, and just don't do anything else about that. This nation quickly takes these areas, while for some reason this Bulgos nation or Bulgarian nation kind of takes some Romanian lands, which is kind of weird even for them. Some of these areas over here, Azov and I don't know what to call that. I'm not gonna even say its name. That's how much I don't know about it. But we see that the Mahdi's and both of these nations take over that. Over here we see two new things going on, and that is expansions and new nations. That's a small nation, I know, but it's that small because of a very good reason. We see over here this Finnish nation quickly outperforms this one by taking some of the Overlands, giving it kind of access to these regions, better access than this guy, who would at that point be like able to take some of these regions, but still with this area over here they kind of only are able to take these regions in the future, which I may predict or may not predict. Over here we see that the Latvian puppet over here of Lithuania quickly gets news of the other nations over here in Ukraine finally taking these territories, and with that we see that Europe is fully again moving. And with all of that, we will now go to China and the other regions. As we can see, many new nations have started to form, and the first new nations are very weird. Let me just say, the first new nations are the nations over here, who decide to come into existence through certain methods. They just do. Also, this nation already exists. We have two more of these nations. I'm just gonna make all of these nations over here exist, because why not? A lot of these nations should exist at this point. I'm just saying that so you know why they should exist. Basically, we also see that these two nations now exist. They will fight over trade around this region, but this guy has the more important areas that they want. Over here we also see that many of these Vietnamese and Cambodian lands are taken, as well as some Laotian territory, although we don't really care about Laos because they don't exist in this world. Yay. We also have some other technical things happening, like many expansions by both the Li Jingxis and the Southern Kingdom, who, not kingdom, but China. And we will see a lot of other things happening. The last of the expansions will happen, and Uji is now a very kind of unrecognizable nation, although they actually are unrecognizable. They are very recognizable. If we look at what they looked like a bit ago, they looked very cool, and they still look cool. I actually like the Uji border, and that's why I'm gonna want to keep them. Although it would be cool if this nation just took it over. I'm just gonna... Oh yes! Oh yes, what about this guy? I'm not saying the border is peak, but it looks good. Okay, that just looks weird. This would be perfect. Oh, that's already what I call future material right there. Future episode material. And for this guy, I'd say these two would be a good idea, as well as some lands from here, some territories over here and over here. But we haven't had all of the expansions just yet. As we can see, some of these areas still expand, and this nation just cut off the smaller nation, not out of spite, but just because they are quickly just gonna invade and take them over. This nation was already on the chopping block for a while, and it was already thought of as cannon fodder. And with this nation finally becoming a bit more relevant, I don't think that they have a nation name. Okay, they do have. So Heiji Heiji is doing quite well for themselves, and wanna know something? They quickly start to militarize. They use their larger military and larger capacity for more things, and also they have closer access to the water, giving them more access to seaports and more sea trade. And we quickly see that in their attempt to kind of expand their territories, they will enter some of these territories and demand them from this nation, which does deny their claims to these areas as just being bad and unreliable for any reason. And we quickly see that Heiji will start to win some battles over here, quickly taking over a lot of territory, and eventually they will take this town by siege, and we quickly see it just becomes very, very hard to do some stuff. Is that a smoke detector? Might be. But I'm just gonna say that the Heijis do manage to move quite far. They do take a night patrol that actually manages to cause a lot of casualties for the enemies, and we see that the Heijis at some point took the capital by storm. And eventually they took this over, and eventually they just moved their capital from one point to another, that being basically they took their capital and moved it to the north, more north, because they wanted to quickly start to consolidate these areas. They already consolidated much of it, but this area, once they consolidated it and invaded this, they just did what they did. Over here we see that this nation, this nation is annexed. Although it does fight back against the annexers, it's just futile. And we quickly see that some areas over here are now entered and taken, giving Heiji a great dynasty that they can fight with. And we quickly see that the first Jappo civil problem happens when the Hon dynasty, not Hon dynasty, but Hon shogunate, sees a large bit of their troops killed in this area over here, and they're very mad, so they sent troops over to these areas over here, and once they enter these lands, they are quickly met with two very large problems, because once they start to move through this nation to find out what happened, they see that there are troops of this thing over here that have just invaded their puppet over here, which wasn't that happy. But not only that, these nations have started to fight amongst each other. And not only have they started to do that, they have started to do so very blood-wise. And once the Hon shogunate's forces start to leave this region, we see that not only does many of these areas start to fall over to the respective winners of this conflict, but we quickly see that many regions start to see heightened aggression towards each other. Many regions start to see a lot of fighting happening, and eventually we see that this war will start to conclude with a kind of weirder border situation between these two nations. These guys managed to take a bit of lands, while these guys managed to take over these territories, making a more centralized area, but also costing them most of their other areas that they could have joined up later. And with that, we also see that these two also go to war, but it's more or less of a just large fight between two people. We see that over here these guys move into each other's territories. Over here it's kind of a similar thing, although on the same front. Over here this island is taken, and with the general attack from both sides over here just taking out that and also overwhelming this guy, it's just very hard for these guys to defend in very many areas. Over here they managed to capitulate this area, and they also managed to take over some more southern areas over here, although they're unable to defend against the now united forces of this shogunate. Well, not shogunate, but feudal state. And we quickly see that this feudal state manages to push back the forces over here, taking them out, and eventually taking the regions over here. With these areas kind of more united and this guy weakened, it will be forced to sell some of its territories to its enemies, and we'll quickly see that it will sell the northernmost territories to that, and some of the southern areas, well, eastern territories, while over here they just sell some of the coastal areas, and after a bit they are subject to invasion by both of their guys that they made deals with. This was because they didn't want to make any more deals, and these two wanted their lands, so these two just agreed to invade, although one nation could take more. It was surprised by a large attack down over here that cut off their ability to take these areas. And once this nation kind of landed over here, taking some of these regions, and this guy managed to push into these areas, it was kind of made sure of that not only was these areas kind of valuable for this guy and this guy, it was more valuable to have them than just give them up. And this guy decided to give its two regions over here away and just consolidate these forces over here. We also see that this guy had the stupid opportunity and stupid thought of buying these territories, which, yes, will work for them, but different people didn't like the same ruler. And we quickly see that once they started to buy even more territory from this guy just stopped all of the territory, and yeah. Also, I'm gonna just do a bit of a break.